And let's talk about today's business matters. $170 million in damages. That's how much Israeli spyware giant NSO has been ordered to pay WhatsApp and its parent company Meta. This is over its Pegasus surveillance tool being used to hack about 1,400 WhatsApp accounts in 2019. Pegasus has what's called a zero-click spyware. That's when a device can be infected without having to click on a link or even open a message. In a statement, NSO Group said it will review the verdict and pursue any appropriate legal action. It added that it believes its technology plays a critical role in preventing serious crime and terrorism. Weight Watchers has filed for bankruptcy. The 62-year-old diet program announced Tuesday it entered Chapter 11. During the bankruptcy process, Weight Watchers says operations for members will continue as normal. The company expects to emerge in about 40 days as a publicly traded company with its massive $1.5 billion in debt eliminated. Weight Watchers has struggled to keep up with modern weight loss options like GLP-1 drugs. The most recent earnings from February revealed a 12% decline in members. The company's stock dropped 56% following the announcement. The number of subscribers to Disney Plus is on the rise again. The streamer added 1.4 million subscribers for the quarter ending March 29th. Disney's other streaming business, Hulu, added 1.3 million subscribers. Overall, Disney's streaming businesses and parks brought in $23.62 billion in revenue for the quarter. That's a 7% increase over the year. According to Street Account, analysts had forecasted Disney Plus subscribers to decline by more than a million. Disney says it expects growth to continue in its next quarter with a modest increase in Disney Plus subscribers. The tariff markup on cars is official. Ford is one of the first major automakers to adjust sticker prices since auto tariffs imposed by President Trump. Prices on 3 of its Mexico-made models are going up. In a notice reviewed by Reuters, the company said this will impact models of the Mustang Mach-E electric SUV, Maverick pickup, and Bronco Sport. The increase will be as much as $2,000. A spokesperson said this affects vehicles built after May 2nd. These vehicles are scheduled to arrive at dealership lots in late June. The spokesperson said the increase is part of normal mid-year pricing adjustment combined with some tariffs, but noted that Ford is not passing the full cost of tariffs to customers. Bookings are catching a ride with Uber while revenue has missed the pickup. The ride-hailing service's first quarter results have arrived with a bonus upbeat second quarter forecast. Here's more.
Uber has delivered its first quarter results. Earnings beat analysts' expectations, but anticipated revenue fell short. Uber's largest business segments are ride-hailing and food and grocery delivery. Both units reported bookings up year over year. CEO Dara Khosrowshahi says much of its gross booking from Uber Eats came from Uber One members. He says the subscription service is growing quickly. It's also being sued by the FTC. Uber One is accused of deceptive billing and cancellation practices, which Khosrowshahi disputes. As for Uber's core ride-hailing business, it posted bookings up, but also shared its slowest revenue growth since the pandemic. The company's CFO says this was due to sluggish demand in the U.S. That's why the company is leaning on its international markets and partnerships with autonomous taxi operators for growth. Uber shared second quarter booking and adjusted earning forecasts well above Wall Street targets.
Meanwhile, a judge in Florida has denied Burger King's motion to dismiss a 2022 lawsuit. 19 people sued the fast food chain, claiming it misled customers by falsely advertising the Whopper and other menu items. They argue Burger King advertised their burgers as 35% larger with more meat than the actual burger. And according to the lawsuit, the customers want money earned from the alleged false advertising and for the company to correct the deceptive behavior. Burger King denies the claims. A new study from the Pew Research Center reveals higher prices at the grocery store are keeping most American families from eating healthy. According to the survey, eating healthy is a bigger challenge for lower-income adults. More than two-thirds said increasing food prices make it difficult to eat a healthy diet. But middle and upper-class households have also reported struggling due to costs. An April analysis found more than half of adults don't meet the diet recommendations set by the American Heart Association. From elaborate floral arrangements to supermarket bouquets, the vast majority of flowers sold in the U.S. are imported from countries with climates friendly for growing. Now, those imports face tariffs. Here's more.
The Mother's Day rush is on at Washington, D.C.'s Little Acre Flowers.
It's by far our busiest week out of the entire year.
Bringing in new stems daily.
We get all of the flowers that we work with from nearby farms as close as we can from our location here in D.C.
Little Acre's locally sourced flowers are an exception in the floral industry. More than 80% of flowers sold in the U.S. are imported, according to the Association of Floral Importers of America, mostly from Colombia and Ecuador.
They have the same temperature all year round. So the commerciality of growing what we need for the consumers 52 weeks a year is able to be done.
AFIA Executive Vice President Christine Bolt says the floral industry has deeply felt President Trump's baseline 10% tariff on all goods coming into the U.S. because of frequent fragile imports.
It is perishable. It comes when it comes, and we gotta move it as fast as possible.
The extra cost will be a burden to some florists and may be passed on to consumers. But Kate Penn of the Society of American Florists says florists weathered supply chain challenges prompted by the COVID-19 pandemic and have a certain creative resilience.
What our industry really did was they got much better at planning in advance. They really leaned into their supplier relationships because that's so important in times like this.
And even though her shop's flowers are grown close to home, Little Acres owner Amber Flack says tariffs could catch up with her business too.
The farmers that we work with, they may source things like bulbs or seeds from international sources, and if those things are marked up, that cost is eventually going to get passed along to us.
The United States and China are set to hold high-level trade discussions. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Trade Representative Jamieson Greer will meet with their Chinese counterparts in Switzerland over the weekend. Trump announced yesterday that the Chinese regime wants to engage with the United States as its economy feels the impact of the tariffs. The president says the communist nation is suffering greatly because it's not doing trade with the United States. Currently, U.S. tariffs on Chinese imports stand at 145%, while China imposed 125% tariffs on American goods. News of the planned Geneva meeting sent U.S. stock futures market higher. Markets in China and Hong Kong also followed suit during Asian trade today. Used prices may not offer much relief for car buyers either. A closely watched gauge for used car prices jumped last month to its highest level since 2023. Cox Automotive's Manheim Used Vehicle Value Index tracks prices of used vehicles sold at U.S. wholesale auctions. In April, that increased nearly 5% from a year ago. On top of that, Cox marked a significant month-to-month rise in the index, nearly 3%. Compare that to a typical 0.2% increase. And Cox found the average retail listing price for used vehicles increased more than 2%. The used car market is not directly impacted by the new tariffs. Instead, it's reacting to new vehicle prices and demand. Joining the fleet to reform America's air traffic control system, CEOs from the 5 largest U.S. airlines are expected to back Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy tomorrow as he details his plans to Congress. The chief executives from Delta, United, American, Southwest, and JetBlue are all expected to speak. Duffy said this week that the plan is to build a brand new air traffic control system, and it will take an estimated 3 to 4 years. Officials say if you don't have a real ID or another accepted form of identification, like a passport, you'll still be able to fly domestically. However, a traveler will have to be prepared to possibly go through additional screening if they can't be verified at the security checkpoint. The question is, are people aware of the new rule? NTD's Sam Wong was out at Ronald Reagan National Airport in D.C. to hear from travelers.
Do you have a real ID?
I do. I got it 2 weeks ago, right before it got all crazy.
I do not. I travel almost weekly, so it's a necessity for me. I just need to prioritize getting it done.
I've always had a real ID. When it came out, I got mine immediately. I just relocated up to Montana. I had one when I lived in Nevada, and so it's just easier to travel with a real ID.
Nevada. I'm from Nevada, Las Vegas.
Yeah, me too, Las Vegas.
We've had it for a long time.
Where are you from again?
Kansas. Yeah, everybody's driver's license just has this little There's a little star on it.
Oh, for sure. All right, let's get closer to that number right there.
I think my license expired and it came with the new star.
When was it when you renewed your license?
I can't remember.
I used to drive semi, so I already had it. I got it at that point probably a couple years ago. So.
Did you know there was a difference between a regular driver's license and a real ID?
Yes, I do.
I do have a passport and I do have a government ID, so I feel like that's probably enough for right now.
And are you aware of the upcoming mandate?
Yes, yeah, that starts tomorrow. Yeah.
I am. That's why I'm traveling with my passport today.
I am not.
Just find out now?
I just found out from you, yeah.
I saw it got pushed back, but it was May or August or something that was supposed to be. I guess due to the administration or people just can't get it fast enough. I don't know what it is.
I did, and I made sure I had all my paperwork before I went and got it. And I waited till the last minute, but I made an appointment and got in quick.
You're a smart guy.
Try to be. 2 + 2 is 5.
Do you plan on getting one?
I absolutely do, yes.
Probably when I renew my driver's license, but probably not going to make a special trip to the DMV since it's going to take a whole day probably.
How's it looking over there at the DMV? Are people lining up to get it? How long's the wait?
There's lines around the block. Some of the guys I work with waited for about 3 hours, 4 hours, and then got denied.
I don't think I've ever been to the DMV and gotten it done in less than half a day.
I feel bad for the people that have to go do it, but Kansas is ahead of the game, so it was pretty painless.
Oh, it's always been lines. It's just you were more tolerable back then. And COVID just amped everybody up, made them all impatient.
I've heard some horror stories of a colleague in Chicago that said he waited in line for about 3 hours outside to get in the DMV. I'm trying to actually see if I can do it online.
United Airlines is offering free ticket changes to some customers impacted by ongoing cancellations at Newark Liberty International Airport in New Jersey. According to the airline, flexibility waivers are available to travelers originally scheduled to fly from May 6th through 17th. New tickets must be in the same cabin and between the same cities as the original flight. And Voice of America is off the air for now, but is returning in a partnership with One America News Network. The announcement was shared on X by Carrie Lake, a senior advisor to the U.S. Agency for Global Media, which is the parent company of VOA. She said the OAN network should provide its news and would do so and video services free of charge. This comes after Trump ordered the gutting of USAGM, and Lake placed nearly all VOA employees on leave. The Federal Reserve is keeping its key interest rate unchanged. The central bank held off on lowering borrowing costs today as President Trump pushes for a rate cut. Fed Chair Jerome Powell had this to say.
The risks of higher unemployment and higher inflation appear to have risen, and we believe that the current stance of monetary policy leaves us well positioned to respond in a timely way to potential economic developments.
The Fed kept its rate at 4.3% for its third straight meeting after cutting it 3 times in a row at the end of last year. Trump's sweeping tariffs are shaking up the global economy, and uncertainty is giving the central bank pause. The Fed's mandate is to keep prices stable and maximize employment. Typically, when inflation rises, the Fed raises rates to slow borrowing and spending and cool inflation. If unemployment rises, the central bank usually reduces rates to spur more spending and growth in the economy. Danish drug maker Novo Nordisk pledges to drop diversity goals for its U.S. business. The company is known for its anti-obesity drug. The company is specifically dropping requirements to represent both genders in its workforce by a minimum of 45%. The company did not say it would drop the requirement for its staff outside the U.S. Other European drug makers with a presence in the U.S. have also dropped diversity requirements. The drug makers want to keep their business dealing in the U.S. free of penalties. The second Trump administration has taken numerous actions against diversity initiatives, which it sees as wasteful, biased, and discriminatory. GoFundMe is celebrating 15 years. The fundraising platform announced over that time it's helped individuals and groups raise $40 billion worldwide for various causes. As part of a GoFundMe's anniversary, the company is unveiling GoFundMe Pro. It's a platform aimed at helping nonprofit groups fundraise. The company says GoFundMe Pro would offer tech innovations and software tools to make it easier for individuals and nonprofits to ask for donations. Mickey, Minnie, and Company are heading to the Middle East. The Walt Disney Company has announced plans to debut a new theme park in Abu Dhabi. the capital of the United Arab Emirates. This will be the Mouse House's 7th global resort destination and its first new theme park development announcement in 15 years. Officials say the resort will be on an island about a 20-minute drive from downtown Abu Dhabi. A company from the region will be involved with the development, with a potential opening in the early 2030s. During the 2024 fiscal year, Disney made nearly 60% of its operating income from its parks. And now on to markets. U.S. stocks rose today in a volatile session after the Federal Reserve held interest rates steady. Markets initially dipped after the Fed warning of increased risks of both inflation and unemployment, but stocks rebounded later, led by chip makers after reports that Trump plans to reverse AI chip restrictions imposed under Biden. Tech stocks were mixed. Alphabet and Apple declined, weighing on the Nasdaq, while Uber and CrowdStrike also fell on disappointing financial updates. And that's it today on Business Matters.